Hello YouTube and welcome to GrunfWorks Plays KSP. This is episode 10 of the Interplanetary Voyage of Exploration, and in previous episode we have launched many ships in the orbit around Kerbin, and in today's we will be once again launching the utility return pod ship. That's a ship that we have designed in the previous episode with the intent of having some, or at least one return pod that will be transferring back Kerbals from Kerbin Orbital Lab 1. That's kind of the idea. And it will be launched empty because I do not want to have any Kerbals on board. I'd rather have it docked empty to the Kerbal Orbital Lab 1. So throttle to max, and let's see if we can just make sure to launch when our Kerbin Orbital Lab will be passing directly overhead. So accelerating the time a little bit until we get to a decent position, until it gets to a favorable position in the sky, that is. And somewhere along these lines I think it will do nicely. So let's switch to our, maybe a little bit more, yeah, okay, let's switch to our rocket and kicking the gas and launch. Decent thrust to weight, 1.7, and I mean I didn't really need the escape tower because I don't have any crew in there, but I don't know, I just thought it would be handy if I ever decide to launch this one with a partially crewed or fully crewed. It just makes sense. Standard ascent, nothing out of the ordinary, and this is rather a simplistic rocket, but I like it because it has a clear intention, or two actually intentions. One is to return the Kerbals, and second is to actually dock with the space station with our Orbital 1 lab, and also to perform the eccentric quarks experiment now that we have two cyclotrons at that station. So yeah, multiple use, but once again, what is multiple use when you need some science? Okay, so our apoapsis is around at 100, which is great. So now let's see if we can burn to secure some sort of a rendezvous, and I think I have launched a little bit too late, to be honest. Well, I'm pretty new to this kind of intercept launches, so yeah, bear with me. Okay, we have a total of 1760.2 delta V to burn, and we are just pointing the rocket maneuver prograde and getting ready to kick the gas in 1 minute and 17 seconds roughly. Mandatory screenshot for the episode, obviously. I mean, at least it's a screenshot candidate. I cannot say if it will be a screenshot, but definitely it is one of the better ones. So yeah. And burning for our maneuver node, hitting the stage, and now we have a smaller rocket, which makes it a little bit longer burn, given that the engine is not as powerful, but once again the rocket is much lighter, so it's not too drastic of a change. 1000 meters per second to burn, and at the time when I was doing this I was thinking, I mean, I should have enough delta V to be able to dock with to dock with Kerbin Orbital Lab and also to deorbit. Okay, a little bit more to burn. Okay, a bit more. I mean, these engines have good delta V, but they are pretty weak. And almost, and we will be in the orbit. 110 by, come on. Yeah, okay. We are orbital, that's for sure. So, let's kick this one, decouple the escape tower. Perfect. And now it's time to actually perform the rendezvous to our Orbital Lab 1. Okay. Doing a little bit of fiddling. Sometimes I actually have troubles with aligning things, but okay. I think a couple of more orbits and we should do nicely. Come on. Few more, and... Oh, do we have an encounter? Not yet, not yet. And there we go. And that's gonna happen in 2 days, 0 hours and 45 minutes. So that means, guys, pretty much that we will be needing to actually wait 2 days, and I think I don't want you to watch this whole 2 days, so I figured I'd just warp it until we have a decent encounter, and my maneuver node just went bonkers, so I had to redo it. So once again, 1 day to burn, so I need a minor correction. Hold on, let me see if I can get it right this time. Well, we do get a close approach, I think. We'll just have to... It will just have to do, I guess. I mean, a little bit fiddling, let's see. It seems that we are narrowing the gap. Okay, so after a little bit fiddling, we are 4 minutes away from the maneuver node. I'm sorry if you feel like I'm skipping things. You've seen me doing a rendezvous multiple times, but I figured I would save you roughly the dizziness of me doing laps around Kerbin for, I don't know, 20-ish revolutions, which got my head to spin, so yeah. So 2.7 meters per second to burn. We are closing up on the Orbital Lab 1. Our target velocity is 244 meters per second. So I'm just trying to see where I should be burning. So I'm kicking the gas because I do want to burn so that I get my prograde and target prograde vectors aligned, and I think I'm burning in the exactly correct direction. We have to be a little bit sparingly because I have 500 meters per second of delta V, which normally would be enough, but then again we have to make sure that we don't have an ideal rendezvous, so we need to plan a little bit. And I've already expanded to 195 to secure a better rendezvous. So that means I will need to do it a little bit better. So let me just see. We are currently at 4.6 kilometers in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And we have a total of 231 meters per second relative velocity to burn. So let's just orient ourselves and make sure that we align these two markers. It's not big of a deal, but let's just make sure that those are aligned. Okay. By the way, when you're facing retrograde, when you're essentially pushing the retrograde marker on the retrograde, so you have to think about if you want those to align. When you're considering retrograde markers, you are pushing it where you want your retrograde marker to go, your orbit retrograde compared to the target retrograde. When you are doing the prograde, then you're pulling it, sort of. Okay, decreasing my relative velocity, 76 meters per second, and we are already at 2.7 kilometers away from the target, so we have to also account for the fact that we have enough time to actually stop, and that we have a total of 156 meters per second, which is once again a little bit tight on the delta V budget, but should be enough. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and we are 200 meters away and going 6 meters per second, which is great. Oh, a little bit too enthusiastic. Oh, and I think this is well placed. Okay, so let's bring up our docking navigator control from our docking node, and we want to be attaching to this side. Yeah, I think that would be the ideal case. After all, this is a return pod and it should be in the middle of the station. Right, guys? Okay, so we are already aligned, and I think my maneuvering thrusters have been balanced, more or less. Great. Which then puts me in a position where I can just make sure, since we are already aligned, just to thrust with my maneuvering thrusters in the right direction and hopefully quickly enough close the distance. Screenshot. Okay. Making sure to get the green cross in the center. 100 meters. I'm showing this at, I think, 2 times acceleration, 2.5, so you see the docking as it unfolds. Okay. Correcting the vertical velocity and then just horizontal. We are approaching nicely, 20 meters roughly, 20. Performing the final alignment, 10 meters, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and docked. Wonderful. Now our Kerbals have a way to safely return to the, or hopefully safely return to the Kerbin. Okay, and I think I will use that one to primarily return 1 or 2 crew members that will be coming back from Duna, that I plan to return from Duna. I wanted to also pump a little bit of fuel, and also I started to actually perform the eccentric quarks experiment, which will definitely take some time to finish, so definitely it will take some time until that one is done, but once it's done we will probably transmit the science and also return the experiment, just to be on the safe side. Once again, the mandatory screenshot. I really like how this station looks now. We will be of course expanding it, but then again. Okay, and let's now go to our Duna Orbital 1. And I want to be returning 2 Kerbals using our shuttle Voyager. And one of those will be HMV Kerbin, who will be piloting the vessel, and I think the another one will probably be either Moomin or Mike J. So I'm trying to EVA, but then I realized that it doesn't have a hatch. So I will actually use the transfer crew option to directly transfer him to the Voyager's cockpit. and some graphical glitching, but once again everything looks to be fine. Okay, and let's just check the contents of the cargo bay. I'm checking that all of my food supplies are okay, because I don't want to have my Kerbals dying of starvation. We have seen enough of that before, right guys? Okay, now turn on the lights, and it's time that we get our second passenger. Just wanted to make sure that everything is correct. Okay, and then the second passenger that we will be transferring. Okay, by the way, I always forgot I wanted to transfer some liquid fuel, oxidizer, or actually here it's just liquid fuel. I always get confused when it comes to these things. Oxidizer is not that much of a big of a deal here. Okay, and I think it's time that we get our second passenger now, and that should be, I believe, Moomin or Mike J. Do we have anybody else? HMB is piloting, and the person returning to Kerbin will be... Hold on. Yeah, I think Mike J. You are a pilot, and currently we don't need 2 pilots. Okay, while you are out there, give station a look-see. She looks beautiful, but I really dislike the option of these 2 shuttles connecting like this. And this is the reason why we launched in the previous episode a space dock. Okay, please stop fooling around, will you? We have a tight schedule to meet, you know, we are supposed to leave to Kerbin in 1 day, so you don't have all day. Okay, now we are hopefully transferred everything that we wanted. Great. Oh, some monoprop. Yes, by all means. I have to just figure out of which tank to pump it. So it's this one. Okay, transfer out. This will in one go refuel all of our SSTOs, or all of our, not SSTOs, but shuttles. Sorry, I keep mixing them up because I usually design SSTOs that look like this. And these aren't SSTOs because, well, Discovery might be SSTO for Duna's perspective, but Voyager is just a shuttle. Disconnecting, and let's see, Duna orbital ship, 1 year, 370 days, that should be more than enough. So let's just rename it Spaceplane Voyager. As simple as that. Great. Okay, just wanted to confirm. Let's thrust a little bit to get a little bit further away from the station. Let's activate our nuclear engines, and I just want to align so that I get a little bit away from the station. Hold on. And just little puffs of nuclear radiation, which I'm pretty sure the boys in the Orbital lab, Duna Orbital, will be appreciative of. So I think this will make a nice screenshot for the episode. Yes, beautiful one, and perfect. Goodbye, friends, and good luck to all of you staying in the orbit of Duna. I really like how Duna Orbital 1 is slightly going out of view. Okay, let's get back in the in the command seat, and we have a maneuver node to plan, which means I should be thinking a little bit about setting up the maneuver node to get back to Kerbin. So let's set Kerbin as target, and let's see if we can get a good alignment. We have all of the data that we need for the ejection maneuver here. Okay, so let's just put in 602, normal -1, and then we have to fiddle with respect to the orbit, left, right. I think somewhere along that should sound about right. I thought we had something, so let's see how close are we really to setting up a maneuver node. Oh, pretty close. Okay, then let's see if we can fiddle it a little bit back and forth with the precise node. Which sides makes it closer to connect? I think this one. Yeah, and we have an encounter. Great, let's focus on Kerbin. So let's bring it as close as possible. I just want to make sure that my fiddling is on par. Hold on. And downwards, please. And oh, already on the other side. No. Correct it. Okay, I think a little bit more to the combination of normal and prograde should hopefully bring us into the good alignment. Come on. Okay, let's put it like this. Can we fix it with normal maybe? Radial? Oh, yeah, radial would work nicely. And then... okay, a little bit plus normal and negative on the radial. I think we will make sure to get an encounter just right. Okay, and I think this should be fine. We could always fix it a little bit later. Yeah, I think that's ideal. Pretty much ideal. Don't expect that my maneuver node will be this accurate, but if I manage to get in the ballpark, I'll be extremely happy. Okay. Coming back to our shuttle, let's just point it towards the maneuver node prograde, and it will be happening in a couple of hours. So we will be wanting to accelerate the time a little bit. Okay, we are pointed correctly, and just for the beauty reasons to put the craft something along these lines. Okay, once again let's focus on our spaceplane, and okay, we are close. 2 minutes to the maneuver node. Oh, and I think I overdid it a little bit. Let's kick the gas. Turn it so that it looks pretty. Roll the camera and take some pretty pictures while the ship is burning, because this is really a beautiful sight. I really like the color and the looks of the LVNs and how they look when they're burning. 300 meters per second to go. That should hopefully put us in the correct ejection when compared to Kerbin, and I do expect we will need a little bit of corrections maybe later on, but if we manage to get close enough, I'll be happy. And let's burn a little bit closer until we're on the 0. Yeah, and here we go. Correct with a little bit with RCS, maybe even. Yeah, as close enough as we can make it. Okay, so let's see, where does that put us? Does that put us in alignment with Kerbin? Not really. Okay, we have to fix that a little bit. So let's see. RCS, this side. Yeah. Okay, we have a Kerbin encounter. Let's see. Okay, thrusting in this side. Yeah, reduces the periapsis a lot. Great. I mean, I'm happy with that. So let's see. Okay, I think we're good. We have already the leaving of the Duna sphere of influence, which will be happening in 2 days. So definitely before, and I think after we leave the sphere of influence, I will be saying goodbye to you guys. So let's just enjoy as we slowly drift out of the Duna sphere of influence. Ike is setting behind Duna. Let me just turn our space plane a little bit so that it looks actually a little bit cooler. And let's admire leaving of Duna sphere of influence. So 2 of our brave Kerbonauts pilots, which have been helping us pilot all this massive ship going to Duna, are now returning back to Kerbin for their new and further assignments, while the rest of the crew will be resuming their mission of exploration and mining and all that jazz in the Duna. In the Duna's actual sphere of influence, some of them will be taking down to the surface, while others will be remaining in the orbit. Beautiful KSP music as we are once again going away from Duna and going back home. And as you can see on Duna, we have another dust storm that is covering like half of the planet in one go. Slowly drifting. Okay, let's accelerate that a little bit. We can also see Ike dancing circles a little bit around Duna. And we had even an eclipse if you were really meticulous about it. So yeah. Okay guys, we are leaving the Duna sphere of influence. I just want to make sure that we have really crossed the Duna sphere of influence at the time before when I close it for the episode. So HMV and Mike J are leaving. "14 minutes until we leave. And okay, so let's see if everything checks out when we go back and if we will get once again the Kerbin encounter. Okay, we do. Great guys, thank you very much for watching. Like if you like, see you in the next episode.